The world nowadays seems to be at an all-time low for the average person. Everything is expensive, from housing to groceries to, now jobs not paying well to there being a ton of jobs, but yet no jobs. And that kind of leads into today's topic, and it's AI, as you could probably tell from the title of the video. And overall, everything revolving AI is getting kind of worse. With the advancements of AI, we're not seeing the advancements of legislation to help, control the spread of, bad implementations of AI. And how I feel we'll see this is in propaganda or fake information to, who knows what. I feel like, the sky's the limit now, especially with the advancements Google has been making with their new Gemini. And I'm not saying there isn't, good factors. I feel like there's plenty of great factors for AI. I feel like, assisting in work application, such as research, or, sometimes it's just easier. I have kind of an IT background, so if you have an issue and it's kind of a niche issue, it's really helpful to help scrub the internet in a way deeper way and faster way that you can never do. And so there's definitely pluses to AI. And today we'll be focusing on kind of the more negative aspect it's been kind of bleeding into, and that's entertainment. Now, I feel like the number one thing that has been around since the kind of the foundation of civilization is entertainment, from Shakespeare to just fucking paintings on rock walls. And it seems to be that AI is now going after it with nothing holding it back. So you see full-on AI videos, full-on AI scripts to AI drawings. You see it with the new trend I feel like it's less of a trend now, but was a huge one. And that's the Ghibli AI filter, where it takes anything you have and makes it into a Ghibli film. And I think on top of, the AI film and all of that, it's starting to seep into one of the worst things I feel like humanity has ever made, and that is ads. I feel like we've now seen 100x ads involving AI, and I recently saw a thing where it's a kind of a crash course on how to use AI to improve your ads and make more ads and kind of flood the market with more ads and ads. And I feel like the internet is already barely usable with how many ads are out there. And I feel like a great example is the game Cyberpunk 2077. If you've never seen or played Cyberpunk 2077, it's this dystopian world where there's the rich and then there's the poor. And the one thing that they have in common is cybernetics. And if take 5 seconds driving around Night City, you see just ads everywhere. Elevator, there's ads. Walking to your house, there's ads. Just going down a random street, there's ads. And it's just all sorts. And I feel like that's kind of the world we're heading towards. Maybe not in the cool sci-fi sense, but in the ad sense. And I feel like it's a very destructive, toxic way to go down. It's just making products shittier. I feel like if you scroll down TikTok, you just see ads for those stupid fucking plastic guns that, some AI voice is saying, don't show your friends this, blah, blah, blah. And it's just it's some cheap toy. And I'm not knocking the product itself. The product's kind of cool. If I was a kid, but it's just how much I see it, and it's different iterations from different sources. And it's just how many times do I have to see this one ad everywhere? And I feel like you're starting to see that with like the anime clothing, where it's like you have what seems to be like 50 different companies peddling the same design for a t-shirt, and some of them look cool, and I feel like the original that they're basing it off of is sick, but it's probably a way shittier product. Like, instead of using the insane brain of AI to help solve the hardest questions or problems, we just let these companies whose morals are determined by a board of investors who have more choices than they should and don't care as long as, you know, they see that green arrow go up. In that, I wouldn't be surprised if they start mixing techniques, spreading misinformation about their competitors. I'm not saying like, you know, these giant companies, but these smaller companies that don't have like any, you know, legal backing, or these like, you know, AliExpress type companies where they start just spreading misinformation just around about each other's competition to kind of get a leg up. And see how close Google is making AI videos unrecognizable from real life video. Hell, and we see this happening with retarded people who believe everything on TikTok. If you get your news from TikTok, you are just fucking stupid. You shouldn't be getting your information from TikTok. Just take the 2 seconds. If you see something on TikTok, I get that, right? But like, to believe it at face value is fucking stupid. You should kind of go and do some sort of research if you're going to take that as truth. But we still see a whole bunch of disinformation, from, you know, false health information to world events. Propaganda and misleading is everywhere. I feel like this TikTok, as fun as it is to just delete your hours by scrolling, you end up absorbing what ends up really being just some propaganda of some sort. And you might not know it till way later on. And I feel like that also leads into this other point. You got streamers like Hassan Piker, who is for some reason always on the same side as some fucking terrorist, which makes no fucking sense. And you have his audience completely just gobbling that up. But reeling it back to AI, I think if they're already spreading terrorist propaganda, I wouldn't be surprised if they would end up like, you know, say the terrorists start spreading AI propaganda about, you know, whatever group or whoever they're trying to terrorize, whether it's, you know, like say Russia spreading propaganda about, like AI propaganda about Ukraine. I wouldn't be surprised if AI is now going to be spread in that kind of sense once it gets to the point where even the people who are good at picking out what's AI and what's not, people will end up falling for it once that technology reaches a certain point. And, you know, I guess overall, AI is like the next space race. Everyone is just trying, like, you know, China's making crazy AI models, Google's making crazy AI models. I think I need to make sure and double check, but I'm pretty sure Microsoft is getting like an entire island to make power plants to serve making like a crazy AI thing. And, you know, and it's such a crazy helpful technology that is just being a, you know, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And I feel like without proper regulation and proper law, things can get really out of hand and people can get hurt. And I feel like everyone should be able to live their life without being hurt. And with that, I think just AI is spreading that. If you liked today's video, please leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I know this is kind of my first video on here. There hopefully will be more. And yeah, you guys have a good one. Stay hydrated.